We hear so much about the importance of nonverbal communication, but what happens if verbal communication is challenged? We know that about 1 in 14 children, that's about 7 to 8% of children, they face a challenge in their verbal development. And so imagine if you can't express your ideas, your hopes, your dreams effectively, how isolating that can be. And I know that more than ever, parents are looking for support in that area because they want the best for their children. Today, I've got Claire Ibrahim, who is the speech pathologist and founder of the East Bay Child Development Center here in San Leandro. And she's got a great story of resilience, of working through challenges. And, it was a serendipitous chain of events that brought her here to our city. So, welcome.
Thank you.
And I would like to say, share with us a little bit about you before we go too far into this dialogue about speech pathology.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. Well, where can I begin? So I originally from the East Coast and made my way to the West Coast after college and the East Bay, and have lived in Oakland and moved to San Leandro. Um, Worked in the schools in Oakland as a speech pathologist while my children were growing up, and decided later on in my career to open a private practice here in San Leandro.
So tell me about a little bit about what brought you to San Leandro in particular.
So originally, my plan was to open a practice in Oakland, my hometown, but kind of becoming familiar with owning a business in Oakland, a little trickier, more bureaucratic in a larger city. And so San Leandro is just a sweet, more accessible, sort of a down home feel, and felt like the right home for my practice.
Now, I was a business owner myself, and I know that starting a business is not an easy thing, and certainly growing a business is even less easy.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about the beginning, the early years, and some of the challenges and the resilience, the perseverance that,
Sure.
that brought you through that.
So, first I was looking for an office space and had a hard time finding a location to call our new home. And, it was either too small or too big, felt like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And I came across a Victorian building on Washington Avenue here in San Leandro. And, it was like, oh, this place would be beautiful, but there's no way, it's too big. And so a friend suggested that I start a GoFundMe to raise the funds to afford the down payment to get in the building. And so I did that. And fortunately, many of the families that I had worked with in the schools contributed to the GoFundMe. And so I was able to raise enough funds for the down payment to get in the building. And so that was a successful endeavor, and got the key. And now it was like, oh, goodness, now I guess we have to actually do this. So that was a great
There's
feeling.
something very empowering about day one, isn't there?
Yeah.
But it's never that easy, right? So
Right.
so if I remember correctly, something very special, if that's a word that we choose to use, something very special happened in that first month of your opening.
Yeah. So we got the keys, moved in, got everything situated, and then the COVID pandemic hit very unexpectedly. Who would have foreseen? And so
How do you operate a business where you work with children directly to help them improve their language skills when you can't be right next to them?
So we had to pivot. Like every business owner knows, you have to pivot to stay relevant, to stay successful, and to keep your head above water. We put on plastic face shields, and we were able to see children for speech therapy in the treatment rooms with air purifiers. The fact that we had this larger building actually served us in a beneficial way because we had enough room to see children in individual therapy rooms without them seeing or coming into contact with each other. So that's how we were able to continue serving the community during the pandemic.
And so clearly, then you must have done something right because if I understand this correctly, over the last 5 years, you've grown to 50 employees. So tell us a little bit about the steps, right? You talked a little bit about the resilience. Talk to us about the steps to successfully grow a business through time.
So this wasn't something that I set out to do by any means. My plan was to open a small private practice, but what I learned was that there is a huge need in the community, and especially as a result of the pandemic, or during and subsequent to, children were lacking that social communication. As we were separated and quarantined. Preschools were closing and kids were losing that opportunity to be around other kids and to socialize and to practice language. And so we started creating these small pods of social groups for preschoolers to come and hang out and play. And these were kids who already had a language delay or another developmental delay that affected their communication. And so it created an opportunity to build these social groups, which eventually became a summer camp and now is our Play Pals preschool at our location in San Leandro.
That makes a lot of sense. When I think about the basic advice that we always give businesses is solve a problem, address a need. And so it sounds like you've been successful at addressing a need in the community. How do you share your story with others so that it's just not that immediate set of pandemic contacts? So, how have you grown beyond that? Or do you outreach to school districts? Is it word of mouth? Do you use the internet? What are some of the tools that you can share with our community so that they can learn from your experience?
Yeah. So, as a result of the pandemic, we had to find creative ways to remain solvent. And as a speech therapist, we identified a need for teletherapy in San Leandro Unified School District. By reaching out to the director of special education, I built a relationship and let the district know that we had speech therapists available to provide services via video for the kids who were in quarantine and receiving school services through over video, over Zoom.
So, do you find that, just jumping to the current environment, there's a lot of discussion about the impact of federal budget cuts. Um, and there's a number of businesses that help those that are most vulnerable
Hmm.
in our community, whether it be with their food needs or whether it be with their speech needs or other needs. Talk to us a little bit, make it very real
Yeah.
about some of the challenges that we're facing.
So it's a great question. As services are being cut in our communities for our most vulnerable community members, I felt an obligation to provide more wraparound services for our families. What we're finding is that some of our families have trouble with transportation, for example, and can't come bring their child to speech because they don't have a vehicle. And so, partnering with Alameda Alliance for Health here in the county and building relationships, including these wraparound services, community health worker services, so that our staff are not only providing the early education, early pediatric therapeutic services, but also connecting families with resources in the community to help make sure that they have food on the table, that they have transportation to bring their child to therapy, and that they have what they need holistically as a family to support the caregivers in supporting their children.
So I know you have a breadth of services, but I'd like to just then dig into the preschool a little bit. Uh, Talk to me about what you do in preschool and maybe how it's a little bit different from what we hear that preschools in general do, the TK programs and the like. So just elaborate a little more about that.
Thank you. So, our Play Pals preschool is a very special place. It's an inclusion preschool. And what that means is we have children with all abilities, cognitive, physical abilities, learning and playing together in the same space. This is an initiative that's being rolled out countywide through First Five and many of the other programs that support preschool initiatives here in the county. And it's hard to do, and it's been a learning process for me and my staff, because there are challenges, as you can imagine, that come with having kids of different abilities in the same space. And so being able to do it and doing it with fidelity has been a learning process, but I'm really proud to say that we are doing it. We're doing it well. If you were to come, you'd see kids learning, playing together. Obviously, there's benefit to our kids who are on the autism spectrum or have developmental delays in being around neurotypical peers and learning from them, learning language, learning play skills, self regulation, but also for our neurotypical peers to learn patience, to learn empathy, and to learn kindness from being around neurodivergent children as well in the same space every day. And that's something that I'm proud to share that we have here in the city. And if you are interested, please give us a call or come tour the facility. We'd love to share more about what we're doing.
So you know that we emphasize kindness here in San Leandro, and this sounds pretty innovative. Tell me a little bit about um, as you look to implement this and try to measure your success. How do you measure that?
It's a great question. We're preparing children for kindergarten readiness, and so
Yes,
that's
indeed.
how we measure success is when our preschoolers leave us and they transition to the school district, whichever school district, not just San Leandro.
Are they ready?
Are they ready?
That's a pretty good
And
measure.
we want to improve their chances for being placed in a general education kindergarten environment with neurotypical peers. And so, by being in an inclusive setting early on, we are preparing children to be in a general education around general ed peers. And so, when little ones come to us and get that preschool experience, they're less likely to be placed in a special day class, for example, and more likely to be around neurotypical peers, which is what parents want. And we're doing our part to get children there. Obviously, some children do need a more specialized kindergarten classroom. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The district is here to support kids with all different types of needs. But we are doing our part to prepare kids for whatever placement they sort of end up in is their next step.
So, Claire, this is clearly very heart-driven work. I feel it. I sense it since I first met you. And so my question is, I want to dig a little bit into some of your background. Like, how is it that your heart grew to understand the importance of this type of work so that it's just so personal to you?
So I became a speech pathologist later in life. I started my career journey as a data analyst, and I worked in the medical field and community outreach. Um, and then I had three young children at the time and came to a career crossroads. I realized that I had to go in a different direction. So either I could continue my career in data analysis and get a PhD in statistics, or I could do something different. And so I did one of those career quizzes, and speech pathology came up. So I figured I'd give it a try. I spent some time shadowing the speech pathologist at my own children's elementary school and absolutely loved it. And so realized that this was the new career path that I wanted to pursue. I went to Cal State East Bay and got my master's degree there. And then subsequently, while I was working, I was asked to come back and teach. And so it's been kind of a confluence of teaching, mentoring students in the field, and then also working at my own children's elementary school, watching them grow up, getting to know other families in the community, and really realizing the power in advocacy, the power in accessibility for families that are maybe not as privileged or don't necessarily speak the language or just don't know how to navigate systems, and recognizing that I had that power and I had that privilege as a parent, as English speaker, to be able to connect families and advocate and be an ally, to provide those services for families in the community.
Now, I know that coming from a family of teachers,
Mm.
me, that there are those moments where there's that one special student, maybe a family that you connect with and you feel like, wow, I'm actually making a difference. Do you have a story like that?
I do. So when I worked in Oakland, I was at Redwood Heights Elementary School, and at that school we had a it's still there. It's the Tackle program, which is a classroom, specialized classroom for children with communication difficulties who use AAC, which is augmented communication. Maybe they use a communication device to help them engage. And there was one student in particular who was nonverbal at the time, and we know that. There's a connection between verbal language and physical movement. And so that's why we teach sign language to children, so that we can use some of that physical movement to elicit verbal language. And I remember we were doing a song and we were doing the signs and gestures to go along with the song. And it was a song about a frog. We did the sign for frog, and then one of the children who had never verbally spoken a word before said the word frog, and we all just had this moment of, "Oh my god!" So really seeing that in action is one of those groundbreaking moments, and helping me realize how much power there is in helping children access language and being able to express themselves.
So I want to make this super practical. Um, Not everyone clearly has the need for a specialist. Some people are just trying to help their children develop their language skills. So what are one or two tips that you can give the entire community as they help their children develop language skills?
Read to your kids every day. Make it a habit, even just for a few minutes a day. Put your phone down, pick up a book, read to your kids.
Now, I got to tell you, this is
Mhm.
completely unprompted. For people here in San Leandro, we do have the 1,000 Books initiative being promoted by the library. So now you're giving me this kind of like warm feeling like
Yeah,
we're doing something that's the right thing to do. And that's coming straight from an expert.
absolutely.
So I feel like we're doing something good. Uh, Give me a second tip for parents in addition to reading. What else would you encourage them to do?
For little ones who are developing language, if you have a child that's not talking, we get in the habit of asking a lot of questions. What color is it? What shape is it? What does the cow say? And so rather than asking questions, just model language for your child. Narrate what you're doing during your day, narrate play, speak in, short phrases, model language,
Yeah,
keep doing it so
that
they
makes
can
so
hear
much
it
sense.
and imitate it.
It makes so much sense. And it does remind me, my mom was an elementary school teacher,
Mm.
and she would say stuff like that. Oh, just talk to
Talk,
your kids.
talk to your
Talk to
kids.
your kids.
Talk to your kids and read to your kids.
So I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
So now we're going to pivot. We're going to talk a little bit about the city of San Leandro. And I know that you had an experience building out a new facility here in the city. Originally started in the Victorian, but then you moved to a much bigger building. Um, as a business owner, what are some of the things that the city of San Leandro did well in helping you move through that process? Because I know it is a time consuming process. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of our areas for improvement.
So our current building where we're located was an adult rehab center. There was a swimming pool in the back that was used for physical therapy. And so moving into the space, it was perfect for us because it already had the small therapy rooms that were used for adults. But the challenge of converting a swimming pool into a preschool, which I thought was going to be no big deal, turned to be quite a challenge, and many steps and hurdles that we had to go through with the city for permitting and licensing and childcare licensing and all those wonderful challenges.
If there is one lesson to be learned, for city to continue to grow and improve, I always like to talk to business owners about like, give me one word or just a very short phrase about something that we need to keep in mind as we work with business owners like you?
Um, Patience. I'm a speech therapist. I'm not an entrepreneur necessarily by nature. I have become one. Um, but I think educating new business owners and eh, letting new business owners know what resources are available, free or low cost, to educate prospective entrepreneurs in what steps you need to take to be successful as a business owner opening a new business here.
Those are words of wisdom, practically spoken, right? They're very practical as we work to continue to improve the city of San Leandro and how effective we are in dealing with businesses because we are a city where kindness matters.
Mhm.
So we want to be kind to each of our businesses. And we also want innovation to flourish in our city. And so when someone comes up with an idea that they want to execute, that they want to make the world a better place, we want to make sure that we're there to facilitate that actually happening. Well, I do want to thank you for sitting down and chatting with us today, Claire. It's been an honor. Your resilience demonstrated through action, having a business grow from literally you being supported by some friends to a business of 50 people here in the city of San Leandro. I
Thank
commend you
you.
for that. And for our residents who have joined us for this, know that we like to focus on stories of resilience, of success, where innovation has brought something new to our city. So if you've got stories for us, please send them to Gonzalez at sanleandro.org. And we will be looking for new opportunities to share about the successful innovation, acts of kindness, acts of patience, and certainly resiliency thriving in our city. Again, thank you for joining us.